of us, between me and Mr. Greenberg, will stop our presentations and then we'll let her join us. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have our attorney, Mr. Greenberg, start his presentations, and then Mr. Harry, she comes in, then we'll stop and you can pick it up. Is that cool?
No problem.
All right, so what I'm gonna do is right now, he's gonna touch upon issues regarding health issues and the contract and some questions that were addressed to us.
Arlene is in the waiting room.
He's in there?
Mhm.
The council person?
I'll let it go.
I'll let it go.
Yeah.
All right, so let it in. So let me see him.
She's in.
Hi, Ms. Rivera. Oh, there you go. How are you? Nice to see you again. All right, so we have our guest speaker, Council Member Carolina Rivera, will be joining us this evening. Now, me and Miss, she was nice enough to meet with me last Tuesday, I believe. We met at the hotel that I didn't even know was down on Nassau Street. Pass it every day, right? Beautiful hotel. We sat and we talked, and I appreciate you. Before I introduce you, I just want to talk to the members real quick. As far as my agenda is not about my personal agenda. My agenda since I've been the president, it's about getting the United Probation Officers probation officers of the city of New York known for the work that we do. We constantly hear about nobody knows who we are, nobody knows about the work that we do. And I've been hustling for the past years since I've been here, trying to get us known, advocating and educating people about the work that we do. We still have a long way to go, but to get that done, it's not just me being the face of probation, it's about probation officers and supervised probation officers and all those under this unit to come out and start showing the city of New York and the city and the world who probation is and the profession of probation that's grossly misunderstood and neglected. So we've been blessed to have council members like Ms. Rivera. We had the mayor come on to come and talk to us, and other elected officials, which will continue to do, to come and talk to us so they can see, hear, and understand what we do. But without further ado, I'm gonna give you a little background about Ms. Rivera before I go on. So Carolina has represented the 2nd Council District, which includes the East Village, Flatiron, Gramercy Park, Rose Hill, Kips Bay, Murray Hill, and the Lower East Side since 2018. During her time in the council, she has passed meaningful legislation related to sexual harassment, immigration, criminal justice reform, affordable housing, small business survival, and bicycle safety. She currently serves as the chair of the Committee on Criminal Justice. Now she's running for Congress in the 10th Congressional District, which includes Lower Manhattan and the Brooklyn neighborhoods of Dumbo, Brooklyn Heights, Cobble Hill, Carroll Gardens, Red Hook, Borum Hill, Gowanus, Prospect, you could tell I'm from the Bronx, I'm not from Brooklyn. Prospect Heights, Sunset Park, and parts of Borough Park and Fort Greene. For the past 2 years, we've been battling City Hall, demanding that they treat probation professionals with the dignity and respect we deserve. Though sometimes it feels like it's UPOA against the world, it's important to recognize that some people have our backs. Carolina is one of the people. The race for this seat is unusually crowded, with other dozens Democrats running. One of Carolina's opponents is the former mayor de Blasio. Who allowed the pay disparities you all face to persist in the Department of Probation. Carolina understands the important role probation officers play, balancing the need to keep communities safe with the need to give New Yorkers involved in the criminal justice system a second chance. So she also understands that our workforce, the majority of whom are women and people of color, deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. With that, I turn it over to Council Member Carolina Rivera. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. I really do appreciate that. And as was mentioned, we had a great conversation about, being here in the city and sort of what our hopes and dreams were growing up. I think we both kind of dreamed of being a lawyer. We always also envisioning ourselves in public service. I think that you all have found that you are talented in terms of being a public servant. And what you're asking for is something very, very simple. That is to be recognized for your training, for your certification, for your education, to be recognized for that and to be treated with dignity and respect and to be paid for in full and in comparison to others who do similar work or who actually job descriptions require even less training, certification, and education than what you all have. So why I'm here is very, very simple. I do think it's important for you to know who your elected officials are, your public servants. I am just now in my, I guess, month 6 of being the chair of criminal justice in the city council. How did I get here? I'll give you a quick kind of who I am in my bio. So I'm Carlina Rivera. I'm a councilwoman, humbly representing the communities that raised me on the east side of Manhattan. I am running for New York's 10th congressional district, and you heard some of the neighborhoods that were described there. I am from the Lower East Side. My mother, when she came from Puerto Rico, they landed in Brooklyn. So she actually grew up in Farragut houses. My father grew up in Seward Park Extension, which is a project in the Lower East Side. And they met, like, you know, any good New York story, they met in the club. So I'm a very proud Puerto Rican woman. I was raised by a single mother in subsidized housing in Section 8. I grew up on supplemental food programs like WIC. I grew up, thankfully, with access to, you know, food vouchers, housing vouchers. And my mother has worked for the city of New York for over 41 years in the NYPD. She is an administrator, and hopefully she is looking forward to retiring this summer. I will tell you, because of that job, which had stable wages, good benefits, right? That's how I got my glasses. That's how I got my braces. Because of those stable wages, access to a good education, Section 8 housing, so a stable roof over my head, I'm able to be right here in front of you very, very humbly as an elected official. I'm a fighter. I always have been. I went to my first tenant meeting when I was in grade school. I served on my local community board, and I organized for housing and economic justice before I ever came to the council. So all of those experiences have really kind of influenced the policy and the campaigns that I have worked on kind of throughout my career and getting up to this point. And what's really important is we know that there are so many things that are going on that can really shake us up, especially recent news. It is you all that have really tried to not just keep the city running and take care of New Yorkers, but it is you all that have really tried to address some of the biggest issues in the city right now. And that has to do with public safety, that has to do with access to opportunity. And now, as the chair of criminal justice, getting to know your department better and speaking with your president, I know that there are many things that the city is not doing for you. And so just and I know we'll probably we'll get into questions in a minute, but I realize that some of the simple things that you all are fighting for are, I mean, you have hundreds of probation.
You're on, tell her she's on, everybody's been put on,
Oh, I got it. Can you hear me?
yeah, now we can hear you.
All right. Good. I'm glad you told me. So some of the top lines to make sure that you all know, in having conversations and witnessing what you're doing, whether it's recruitment, retention, whether it's the impacts of the pandemic. I know that there are hundreds of professionals in the network. You are someone who works with a very diverse group of New Yorkers. You are the alternative to incarceration. And when you have people in front of you discussing criminal justice reform and reducing populations in the jail, that conversation cannot happen without you. And so I know that what you do in terms of helping the whole person, right? This isn't just you have one conversation. You have to wear many, many hats. And as I mentioned, your training, your certification, your education, that all needs to be recognized. And whether that's kind of categorizing you as uniform personnel or making sure that you're getting paid what you are worth, that is, quite frankly, to me, a bipartisan issue. I've actually worked on pay parity issues in the council with a Republican from Staten Island. When we were discussing EMT workers, I realized that it's still an ongoing battle. But to take up an issue and recognize when you are, again, the alternative to incarceration, when you are someone who takes care of folks who would be not inside the jail system, which is costly, which is harmful to families and to communities. You have to be recognized and paid what you're worth. So I know that also we have to strike this balance. We need to make sure that we're keeping our neighborhood safe. I know that you step up every single day, especially when we're in crisis, especially with what was going on with COVID. And I know putting yourselves at risk and putting your families at risk was a very, very serious and committed thing for you to do. And you're an essential worker, right? So you were at an elevated risk for COVID, and we want to make sure that all of those issues that you're concerned about, that you're frustrated about, that your council person and your congressperson could take that on. In Congress, what you get is a very, very unique platform. You're able to leverage a position, a national position, essentially, and talk about issues that you know affect your local constituents. So I think the most effective congressperson is someone who has their ear to the ground, is someone who understands our local challenges, who understands what's going on in our neighborhoods and some of our larger systems, and is able to take that, translate it into policy that could perhaps have national implications, right, or advantages, but also bring back the resources to make sure that you all have the resources you need to not just survive, but to thrive within your own communities. So having that conversation with your president and with you all has been very, very important to me. As I mentioned in my time as a member of the Criminal Justice Committee in the last 4 years, and now as the chair of the Committee on Criminal Justice, knowing you're the commissioner of probation, understanding the issues that are going on within the department, I really want to be there to talk about, whether it's recruitment, retention, maybe there's a new category in terms of how you all are being listed and how we can address some of those pay parity issues, some of your conditions at work, whether it's the facilities or out in the field, and how we can make sure you feel that your elected officials are supporting you as public servants. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. If you're wondering, well, is she going to win? Because I want y'all to be with the winner too. I do have a very, very clear path to victory. As I mentioned, I'm a lifelong New Yorker. I'm actually from NY10. You can look at my record in the council. I think I've been a very, very effective legislator. I've also brought in over $1 billion to my district in terms of infrastructure, programming, and capital dollars. And so what I really want you all to know is that with my roots, with my record of accomplishment, and with my relationships, we do have a clear path to victory on August 23rd. August 23rd will not be an easy day to get out the vote. Most people didn't even know there was an election yesterday. But to make sure that we are getting to folks, that we are doing like robust field work, if you will not be in town, that there will be an absentee program implemented, but letting people know that right now, there is an opportunity to elect a congressional member that will be there for undoubtedly years to come, someone with the energy, the drive, and the ambition to work hard, to build seniority, but most of all, to utilize my platform, the platform of the congressional member, to highlight the issues that are affecting our constituents. You are my constituents, right? You are also taking care of families across the 5 boroughs, some of them very, very vulnerable, many of them who need additional services. And so you deserve to feel supported. So with that, I would love to maybe take questions or
I have questions.
yes,
Okay.
please,
Yeah,
please.
so one of the questions, and I think one of the questions that we have, so we've had several, because we've been out there, and I've been out there advocating and educating. I've had several political figures, including our mayor, come and talk to the members of UPOA. No promises made, but come and talk to us. But now we're at a stage of, okay, thank you for starting to see us and hearing us, but what can you do sitting in your current seat in city council as a criminal justice coordinator and for us, and what is your plan for us? And you might have said it, but maybe I need to repeat it. And what is your plan for us? How do you envision us? How do you envision yourself being that voice for us once we get you out there in Congress, because we're gonna help you out? And what do you need from us to get you there?
Well, a couple things we can do, right? So there is, right, the bully pulpit. That's again utilizing your position to, use communication whether that's talking directly with the mayor's office, whether that's putting together like a larger coalition of folks that recognizes the work that you're doing. To me, that is typically very, very effective, right? So you have you all, and let's underscore here the power of labor just in the social justice civil rights movement, right? So you all actually are in a powerful position. What you need is a coalition of folks to uplift your work and to amplify it. So there's a few things we can do, right? Again, you use a bully pulpit, we utilize kind of my position with the media and communications to talk about the issue. How do we kind of memorialize the conversation is we can hold a city council hearing on your department specifically, right? Under my kind of jurisdiction, and talk about kind of the issues there and everything that you're facing. Actually have some of you all testify. I know you're very, very busy and there's a big demand on your time, but we would coordinate it well ahead of time so you can come in and give testimony and we can get that memorialized on the record and have the administration come in and answer those questions, right? So we have media and communications, we have leveraging the platform, holding an official city council hearing, and then again, building out a coalition of people that include advocates, that include the alternatives to incarceration, organizational people, and just overall, I guess, people within the labor movement itself and citywide leaders who understand your contribution. So I think it's kind of a multi-pronged plan that we can do. And we can start again, I think memorializing your asks are very, very important. And I'm not saying, right, a letter is going to solve everything, but I think it's got to be kind of just coming at it multiple ways, right? So officially requesting it, getting it memorialized, utilizing media and communications, and then building a coalition around the issue so we can win.
Yeah, because right now, in addition to you and other officials, I've reached out to organizations like 100 Black Women Coalition. We got their support. So gradually we're starting to build those relationships. Let me ask you another question. Do you also think, along with those coming together with the different groups, and I want them to hear you say, along with our attorney, Mr. Greenberg, that it's great that we have those supports and that we're building supports, but we need the members to come out. Because this is our story, right? And this is our fight. And it's like, once again, I could come out with you and stand with you and 5 or 10 of us or 20 of us, but we got to understand that we got to come out just as strong, because we putting in the, not only are you and me and others putting in the work, but the membership got to be willing to put in the work to make this happen, right? I mean, do you agree? So I just wanted to just put that out there.
Yeah, and honestly, it's very strong to have actual people there
that do the work.
in their testimonies. Honestly, a couple success stories, right? If there are people that you're still in touch with that would come to speak on kind of the relationship and the benefits of working with people like you and the influence you've had in their life. And again, we could all kind of prep this before we get into it, but some ideas, right? Because you need a couple things. You need the data, which you all have, right? You have the data over a few things. One, for example, is when people have an interaction with your department, what are the outcomes, the reduction in recidivism, how much money you save the city when someone is not incarcerated, right? These are all facts. This is data. And then you have the anecdotal and you have the emotional. You have what sometimes data cannot capture, which is how you have changed someone's life in their words. So you also, I think that's really, really important. I think you have to, so come at it different ways, right? Some people are data driven. Some people want to hear the pocketbook angle, which is kind of the economics of it. People also want to hear the anecdotal stories and the emotional piece. And so it has to be kind of a combination of all of those things. And then you got to have the people behind you. So yeah, of course, not just one councilwoman. You have other relationships I know that you've been building. You have kind of labor leaders who they know that when you know one local wins a fight, that has a ripple effect, right? That has a ripple effect for other locals and other union wins. So, and I think that's important. And also this kind of general moment right now when people are discussing and trying to address public safety issues is very timely. Also, as you mentioned, and as you and I discussed, I know what probation officers typically, probation professionals, typically look like. They're typically people of color, and many of them are women of color. And so with that, I think that has to also be kind of underlined, because if we're talking about, equity and empowering communities that are historically underserved, I think it's an important point to make.
Especially a lot of issues surrounding around women's issues in itself. We have a lot of issues when it comes to females in itself. I think that is pretty much, what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna say to the members, I'm going to circle around to the boroughs, and I'm gonna ask the reps to start brainstorming with your locations, and let's start getting this ball rolling, because this is not cosmetics. This is absolutely not cosmetic. This is the real deal. We've been doing, we heading in the right direction, but we need everybody's participation. So what I'll do is I'll reconnect with the executives and the reps to start putting together something to, we'll start putting together thoughts around what you just shared with us, because now you've given us a blueprint on how to go about getting this done. And we really appreciate you for that. And we also appreciate you for coming out and taking time and talking to us. And, and like I said, once again, I'll talk to you off record. We can talk about what could we do to help you get to that,
Yeah, of course.
to that next level. Okay. I appreciate you.
So listen, I'm going to put right in the chat box my email.
Okay.
If anybody wanted to contact me about whatever. And
Yeah.
listen, honestly, spreading the word, letting members know there's
Right.
somebody who understands your position, who wants to be helpful, and who gave a blueprint. I love that.
I like the blueprint.
I would love your support. Thank you
Okay.
very much, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night. Be safe. We'll talk. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was great. So now you heard Carolina Rivera. I'm going to definitely circle back with the executive board and the reps too. We're going to start brainstorming. We want input from the members. You can also questions. I need you to put them at the unitedprobation@gmail.com. Any comments, any feedback on what she was talking about. We're going to definitely follow up with her, and any other political figures or people that we feel can help us in this journey. Like I said, it's not just political figures that I've been reaching out to. I've been reaching out to coalitions like the 100 Black women. I plan on reaching out to the 100 all different ethnic background groups and stuff that can help us, because we're a diverse group of people. So it's not just, it's all different people that we have to communicate with to get them on board with our journey. We're heading, like I said, heading in the right direction. It's not going to happen overnight, but now it's about getting full force, and the energy and the movement got to come from you guys. The other day we had a wonderful turnout. We had a decent turnout with which I'm gonna get into with joining DC37 in their contract now rally. But before I get into that, I'm going to have our attorney, like I said, we're pressed on time because we have other commitments. I'm going to have our attorney, Mr. Harry Greenberg, come and talk to you about the health issues with the health plans and the contract. And like I said, there were some questions that was addressed to us before the meeting. So it's all yours.
Good evening, everybody. Let me begin by saying things that you may have heard before. Health insurance costs a lot of money, to the tune of right now $12.8 billion a year for that includes all active and retired employees and their beneficiaries. It's a lot of money. So the city needs savings, and to the point where they will not negotiate a new contract until that's resolved. However, we know they have a surplus right now. And what's interesting is all the years I've been doing this, the city always, when you go to contract negotiations, they say they're broke. And miraculously, when the contracts are all done, they find the money. So these are issues that we're looking at, not just for you, but for the entire city through the MLC. In 2014, we modified the health insurance and saved the city $3.4 billion reoccurring every year. And in 2018, another $1.6 billion. But no retiree had any change, such as co-pays and things like that, to save any money. This year, we came to an agreement that retirees would save $600 million. These are the people over 65 that are on Medicare. And it would save $600 million each year. Some teachers went to court and they said it was illegal. The court, and they got a restraining order. Their information was wrong, and the restraining order for part of what they were arguing was taken away, but it is still partially on. They said, they said that we can't change senior care for them. And the answer, the judge came out and said, yes, you can. But what they gave the judge was some wrong information. When we corrected it, they appealed, and we now are waiting for arguments in the appellate division to get us to where we need to go to save the $50 million a month, $600 million. The city has now come and said, we need more money. We are not in great shape. And they want another 1.8 to $2 billion more. We're going to go to the Municipal Labor Committee is the negotiator. It's a citywide issue. And we're looking at how things can do it, but not on the table. We will not negotiate not increases, but having you pay for premiums, partial premiums. That's not on the table. And we're the only group in this region that people are not paying, government group, premiums. Port Authority is paying, Nassau and Suffolk are paying, Westchester is paying, the villages are paying, everybody's paying, but not New York City. We're not interested in taking away any benefits, and it's becoming a little difficult. Depending on what happens in the fall with the appellate division, will give us a way to see how we're going to either do what we expected to do and have the $600 million, or the additional 1.2, which will remain for everybody. It's very difficult. We will both have experts. We have Siegel and Company, which is a nationally or internationally renowned consultant, and the city has Milliman, another prestigious company. And we're try to find ways that you will not pay premiums. There might be other changes, but we're looking to make sure there's little or no impact on you, the active, and the retirees. So we have to wait for the litigation, and we have to move forward to save the money before the city is willing to come back to the table. The MLC is meeting with City Hall. The Harry Nespoli, the head of the MLC, Mike Mulgrew, Greg Floyd, Henry Garrido, those are the top people at the MLC. So things have been put on hold. Everything that you've been used to continues until there's going to be a change. So that's the health insurance part. And the contract, these same people are trying to get the city to talk to us about getting a contract. And those talks are ongoing. So most contracts are expired by now. And we know that. So we're talking about retroactivity. We also know that a local 32B and J, which is the private sector, got a contract with a couple of 2% raises. And for the years that we're going to be negotiating, 3, 3, and 3. No givebacks. So that we think that's an important step that we can assert when we get into the bargaining table. So that's that. Now, the last thing is we got questions from a member, and the member wanted to know what was the result regarding the change of tour experiment. It wasn't an experiment, it was a change. We litigated that under the citywide contract. That's where your benefits regarding what the tour should be exist, and we didn't win. They have the right under that contract to change the tours. We have begun discussions with the Department of Probation, and we gave them samples of how things can work. Obviously, we want everybody to work Monday to Friday days. They have the right now under the citywide contract to change that, and that's what they did. We're looking to change it back. That's the fight that we're going on right now as we speak. In fact, we're going to be meeting with them in the next few weeks in July to try to resolve that. We also met with the Deputy Mayor Phil Banks. He's the Deputy Mayor for Eric Adams, and we met with his Chief of Staff. We gave him the work schedules that we thought would be amicable for you, where you would at least approximately 2/3 of the time have the weekends off, like some of you don't have, and getting back to where we started from. And maybe hiring, not maybe, but hiring more people so you don't have to work the weekends, right? There's a lot into that, and we may have to talk to the city council, maybe change legislation, and certainly try to get something in the contract to protect your rights so you can have a reasonable time off for the weekends when everybody's off with your family. So that's that. As far as becoming a delegate, if there is a vacancy in one of the areas that you have delegates or you don't have delegates, if nobody was elected, the president under section 5.1 of your constitution has the right to designate people until the next election. And that's been around for years. That's nothing new. So if there was any questions about that, that's the answer. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
There's a question about, please talk from one of the retirees, Medicare reimbursement from the city of New York, retirees that have not received as of now for the past year. Do you know anything about?
Sure. Right now, you could be reimbursed for the cost of Medicare, right? And you have to submit a form. You go to the Mayor's Office of Labor Relations. There's a form, you fill it out, and you send it in. And for the year, if year one is the time that your first time you're putting it in, you get reimbursed in the next fiscal year. And if you have submitted it and you didn't get the reimbursement, you can call up the office, the Mayor's Office of Labor Relations. There's a separate number that you'll get for the people that are in charge of the health insurance benefits, and they'll help you out.
I'm putting that number in the chat right now for the retirees. The number is 212-510-0470. So if you need to call that number, this is the number to OLR for specifically for retirees concerns and questions. Otherwise, you can also call the union office and we'll give it to you again. And I hope that answered your question. Harry, anything on the Medicaid Advantage? Did you touch upon that?
Well, that's what's in court, right? So we're going to be waiting for that court, the appellate division's decision. I believe we have we in the city are arguing that we can do and get the savings and get the benefits. And if we're successful, the plan now, which could change, is if you want to keep what you have as a retiree, it would cost approximately $200 a month for each beneficiary, the retiree and the spouse or whatever, right? Or you can get it for free by taking the Medicare Advantage, which will be the same doctors, the same hospitals, the same formularies. It'll be all the same. And what they're putting out now, this group, is not true, my opinion.
Okay, so thank you. All right, Harry. Thank you, Harry. I appreciate that.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night. I'm going to do some reminders, and then I'm going to, like I said, any questions, because we press for time for other commitments, and I apologize for that. You can also go to unitedprobation@gmail.com. Real quick, there's been some health issues and ongoing health issues and concerns at Jamaica location and the Bronx. And both, I noticed the commonality between those two locations is that they have the pantries. I think they have the biggest pantries in the city between all the boroughs. I'm not sure. I think Staten Island too. I see the food in Staten Island, but most of the complaints come from Queens and Jamaica, but we're going to make it an overall city issue. And what's been happening that we've been seeing, I've been getting pictures of food that's spoiled and not, well kept. And in Queens, there's rats dying behind the walls and rats running across the hallway in the Bronx, and it's not good. So we've been trying to be as cooperative with the department when it comes to these issues as much as possible. But I think that there's come a point now that we're going to have to step up our game. There's a new facilitator for the department. He took Phil Delicio's place, and I want to give him a chance to try to rectify the issues. He told me that he'll be having his team at those locations to observe, to see exactly what's going on, and then to see what's going on. And when he comes back from vacation, he and I, along with probably DC 37 and with the help of the department, we're going to do a walkthrough to each location to find out what the health and safety issues are. If there's any other health and safety issues other than the mice, the rats, the flies, and other stuff, let us know what those issues are. You can, like I said, you can email to us or call me, whatever, to let us know what else is going on. I know that in some areas, like I think in Jamaica, the rats was going up in the cars. I'm not saying that that's the reason, but chewing on the people's wires, and that's not good. So what we're going to try to do is try to get this resolved once and for all. We don't want to be the ones to stop people being fed, but if we're not equipped to make those accommodations, then they might have to look at something else or figure out a better way to do it, or order just enough for that day, and then we don't have no more food, and then the food is gone. But we're not equipped to we're not hold on 1 minute, please. That's what we're gonna do with the health and safety. Like I said, if there's any other issues, let us know. I had mentioned before that we now have SUVs, if I don't know if I mentioned or not. We have SUVs now. We got 3 in Staten Island, and 3 are being used with Intel. Our intentions is to have those to get more cars put on board in the family court and adult services. We have had calls from members, guys who are tall, big bulky guys, that they're having issues with their physical self because of the cars are so small. So we're going to try to talk to the department. We have a meeting coming with them in a couple of weeks about expanding the SUVs. But I understand they're having issues with the SUVs because they don't have any place to really charge them up. One of the things that came up, and I hear y'all. So we gave out T-shirts. All right, they might not have been the best T-shirts. We tried. I got a lot of constructive criticism, and I'm cool with that. A lot of suggestions. Next time we'll put the words in the back. We put the words in the front because we wanted people to see it, but we didn't mean it to be too low on our stomach. So if anybody got any ideas or designs on how we should do our next batch of T-shirts, feel free. I'm open to suggestions. The executive board is open to suggestions. Somebody got art skills they wanted to show us, present on the T-shirts, but we wanted to say that probation officers matter. So if you got some ideas on how we should do it, we'll be happy to look at that for the next event. Speaking of events, we have the labor parade on Fifth Avenue that we've never participated before ever. And this is a very big event. It's on September 10th. We'll give you the list and dates. And it would be great if we can have a great turnout of every borough come out and join us in this parade on September 10th. Once again, I will continue to reiterate. I've had people tell me people don't know who we are. Probation's not making enough noise. UPOA's not making enough noise. We're trying. But a couple of people cannot make the noise by themselves. We get wonderful ideas from all of you guys, ladies and gentlemen. We get controversy. Okay, I'm cool with that too. But if you want to see change, you have to come out and participate. Believe it or not, officials see that. We was invited, we got an email and a call from Letitia James' office for the Puerto Rican Day Parade to come and walk with her. The Attorney General. That was an honor. That means she sees us, okay? People came out, but what should have come out, I was happy that those people who came out, I thank you for coming out, but then I think it should have been a better turnout, especially if you're being invited by an official to come out. And then the next day I'll get phone calls and complaints about this and that. But like I said, if you don't show up and we don't, it's like a way of introducing yourself and saying to the world and to the city of New York, we here and we have nothing to be reckoned with. But like I said, it can't be the same people over and over again. We had to, we was due to have a rally. I was going to do it, and I'm going to be honest with you. We was going to do a rally on June 14th at City Hall, a press conference. And I started reaching out to different people, and we had the support of Suffolk County was coming out, Westchester, all the surrounding probation departments was coming out. Because it wasn't just about New York City probation's pay disparity, it was about the profession of probation officers across the country, across the world, not being recognized for the work that we do. And I had them, they was there, they ready. They told me, sis, anytime, we there. But then I thought about it. We not ready. I thought about it. Who was gonna come and show up from the city of probation officers was gonna show up? What relationships do we need to build to get the support of people like Carolina Rivera and Ms. James to come out and other public officials to come out and join us? So what I did was I hired an advisor and a person to help us coordinate this event. Because and when I had a conversation with her and the consultant, she said, you guys are not ready yet. Because we would have came out and we'd have had crickets, and our PR teams, like, we have to make sure that we have the right people standing with us to get the media coverage, right? And we can get the media coverage, but then we'd have been out there with the little barriers going like this with about 10 of us, probation officers. And that shouldn't be. And it was at lunchtime. So then I said, all right, you know what? And then we had Henry Garrido from DC 37. We had Anthony Walls. We had all the unions ready to go. But I realized that we're not ready. So then when I spoke to Henry, he said, you know what, come join us on our contract now rally. So we went out and we had about 50 people, and I commend y'all. Brooklyn turned out lovely and Manhattan turned out. We people from Bronx all over came. There were certain brothers, there was nobody there, okay? And you was like, it was right in the heart and it was after work. So we tried to work it where, all right, maybe lunchtime might not work. Let me do it with them at the in the evening. About 50 people, right, Jennifer? About 50 people showed up, but it should have been more. And like even Mr. Wells from Locus 371, when it comes to your pockets, you got to come out and get it. I remember I was talking to one of the retirees and I was like, we got to figure out how to get this money, right? And the way to get that money is to make noise. And like they said, we should have been covering the whole Foley Square down to Canal Street and then some. All the unions should have been out there. But like I said, we had a good turnout, and I commend you guys for coming out and putting on your putting on the t-shirts that, you know, whether you like them or not, you came out there and you put them on. Some people, we got the majority of people that received the t-shirts was great. I think that's great. Just getting a t-shirt and putting it on around the office, I don't care. But the point is that we got to start showing up. One of my colleagues in Suffolk County President, he sent me a copy, a breakdown of his contract and how they get paid. And it's very sad to see how their salaries are compared to ours. And like I said, we have the lawsuit, but I'm doing some additional research so that when we do go to the tables, whenever that can happen, like Harry told you, that we can show some comparisons on how our salaries should be. I'm working on some other projects, and Miss Carolina mentioned some stuff about how we're going to go about getting some things done. There's some other things that I'm working on, but I don't want to speak about it yet until things are in motion. And we're going to need your help. We're going to need you to come out, and we're going to once again need you to participate. I really, really want to put together some committees. I want to put together some brainstorming. I want ideas. No idea is a stupid idea. Just throw it out there. Just throw it out there, because most of us is feeling the same exact way about how we need to be perceived. And I'm gonna be honest with you, we was pursuing the retirement plan, the pension reform. And I thought about it. And once I realized that, and I'm being transparent as possible, once I realized that the city sees us as civilians, that the possibility of that happening is very unlikely right now. I'm not saying it's never going to happen. We have to have them change the way they perceive us and classify us. So I'm thinking, and I'll talk to the attorneys more about it, that if they continue seeing us as civilians, what's the chances of that reform happening? So we have a whole lot of work to continue doing. And every time I peel away a layer, there's more and it's more. So you got to be patient with me on this journey because we're all in this together. And I'm not BSing you. I'm not campaigning because I'm not trying to run for no more than what I am right now. I'm not trying to be a politician because I realize that we have a lot of issues. And I'm doing what I can to get people to hear us. With our issues and stuff. Nobody's making any promises, but I have spoken to people like Miss Rivera. I've spoken to people, I've had Zooms with people, and I tell you, and you can ask Vera, when they finish, that right, B, their heads are spinning because I'm trying to get it all in. I'm trying to get it, pack it all in and try to give them a clear vision of the struggles that we face in addition to the value probation is to the city. And she mentioned something about the cost of having somebody on probation. When they say a fraction, they're not lying when they say a fraction. I think we asked Jennifer, we asked Forte about the cost to have somebody on probation. I think Poison, I mean. And I think he said for adult it's about $10,000 a year. And for juveniles, it might be a little bit more. That's a good thing, but it's a sad thing compared to what we get compensated for the work that we do. I understand that there's struggles with people trying to get overtime, and it's always, we just had an issue in Queens. Thank you, Kim Sanchez, for bringing it to our attention. A project was done. They tried not to pay the people who participated and volunteered for the work, tried not to pay them for the work they did. I reached out to Ms. Mapp. She worked it out, and now everybody in Queens that did that project, the ED project, is entitled to get their overtime payment. And if they don't give you overtime payment, you have to let us know, and then we'll do what we got to do. But what I say to you is that you put in for the overtime. If they deny you, let us know, and then we will definitely file agreements to get that money. But so far, Ms. Mapp addressed it, and it's being addressed. Today, I want to congratulate some of our members today. We had Gail Sealy from Bronx CLO supervisor, who was recognized in at St. John's College University for receiving the award from St. John's for she's been a part of the college professional program since 2018, and she got an award today at St. John's Community College. So I want to say congratulations to her for her continued work. Then we had
Thank you.
welcome. Then we had a whole bunch of offices in the Bronx. UPOA donated money for the food, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry I didn't get there. And they had and I'm gonna get the list of names, but it seemed like it was a whole bunch of people. And they got awards for staff recognition for SYEP Top Connectors. They got an award for VOP on the move. I think VOP on the move. Now that one was funny because I thought we wasn't supposed to be violating anybody, but I guess I don't know what that means, but that's good. Then we had client and community engagement awards, and then they got going above and beyond awards. And what we're going to do is once we get the names of everybody, we will list those names, and I will send it to our PR team to list the names of the people who got those awards. So I don't know if this happened in any other boroughs, but I know I thank Mr. Eusebio for recognizing the members, and I believe and I hope that it did something for the morale, because everybody wants to feel like the work that you're doing is being recognized and it's being seen. So we want to thank him for that. And 1 hour POAs, Carrie Connors also got an award too as well. So I appreciate them for that. So I am going to wait a minute, one more thing. So what's coming up? Labor Day Parade, September 10th. African Day Parade, September 18th. Yeah, Sunday, hold on. African Day Parade, I believe, African Day Parade is September 18th. The African Day Parade, we make a donation. For every parade that we in, we have to pay a fee. For the African Day Parade, we make a donation to help with the food. And at the end of that parade, there's really good soul food at the end of the food, peach cobbler, collard greens, fried chicken, all that good stuff at the end. So that's parade is coming up. And then there's, like I said, there's an event for women's disparity coming up. And I would like for us to be the front focus of that event, but I gotta see what I would, the lady who's helping me coordinate what she says about it. So we have a lot of events coming up. You're gonna have, over the summer, we're gonna take a break. If anything comes up that's important, I will call me. Hold on. And if anything comes up, I will call a meeting and I will have you guys come in. But right now, there's not too much movement happening. And I will be behind the scenes along with the executive board and the delegates. We're gonna be doing our due diligence. And I'm gonna say this too. Albany by Paulie is in recess now, right? Albany is in the locations now, right? Paulie, can you hear me? Yes. So I think it's a good idea, and I mentioned this before, that we start visiting, that a group of us start going out to the locals, politicians in your community, and we start talking about probation. I would love to go with each group from the boroughs, and we go, and I'll pick a couple of people, and we can go and have a conversation. Who you think that can best fit, help us get us to our reach our goal. I truly believe it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. It's just that when it's going to happen, I don't know. I had lunch with Gloria Middleton from 1180. They started this journey in 2013, and their journey came to a resolution with the mayor in 2021. But it did happen. EMS case got resolved. They negotiated. They came to a resolution, right, Jennifer? They came to a resolution. Like she said, when it happens to one, it happens to other. But understand, before I close, those people, members came out. They showed up. They were standing there on City Hall. They was out there making noise. So I can make a lot of noise, but I need you guys to make the noise. So in the meantime, I want you guys to have a wonderful summer. Call me, any questions on the emails, send the emails to us. And I thank you all for showing up, but not just here. I want you to show up outside. So meet me outside, okay? Thank you. Good night. Good night, Sandra.
Are you gonna officially call it?
Call it.
Good night,
James,
good night, good night.
James, say good night. James, call it. James Green, call it. Call it. Okay.
Have a
Good night.
Board meeting shall come to an end.
At what time?
5:24.
Thank you.